Mārie, everyone. So this morning I'm going to show you our new HR system because we've put the performance module in there ready for this coming performance year. So I'll show you what it looks like, and it'll be a little bit of a high level training session. So I'll take you through how it kind of works at a high level. And then happy to help people on a one-on-one or come to team meetings or whatever to help people understand the system and learn how to use it. So just at an overall level, I think everyone knows we've got an HR system and it has a number of modules and we're rolling it out module by module. So this is the first module called Performance, which we'll use for our PDP process. Later on, we'll add on other modules, which will include things like onboarding, offboarding, learning management system, and then recruitment. But today I'm going to focus on performance because that's the first thing we're going to use in the system. So let me share my screen. Okay, so hopefully everyone can now see my screen. I've got no one there to check with, so that's all right. So this is what it will look like as an, well, actually, no, this, I'll go back to the home page. Oh yeah, good. I've just had the thumbs up to say you can all see my screen. Great. So as an employee, I'll just go back to the dashboard. You will, when you enter the HR system, it'll look a bit like this. I think it will look better than this because I'm looking at it on my Surface Pro. When you look at it on a desktop, it will fit the screen much more tidily. So you'll start with a home page with a little bit of an introduction, bit of an overview. You'll recognize these green, orange, and red circles around the process of our PDP timings, and then a little section here around where you're at with your performance. So the menu's just off to the side here. I am in here as a employee. So this is what employees will see. So I'm going to go into my performance to do my PDP process. The advantage, there's a number of advantages actually having this online, our PDP process online. That template that we currently use is a bit clunky. And as you've probably experienced, we end up with like a number of versions. This way we have one version that both the manager and the employee can both come into and add their comments and notes right throughout the year. You can even put in notes for yourself that you can save and then decide at what point you want to share them with your manager. So it's kind of one source of truth, everything in the one place. And I'd encourage people to make our PDP process easier. Let's add notes in against our goals as we go throughout the year, because then it will make that PDP conversation and process easier at the mid-year review and the end of year. Just a reminder that we haven't changed our process. This is just a new tool. So we'll still have our performance year running alongside our financial year from April through to the end of March. We're setting goals in April, and the mid-year review in October, and then the end of year review in April. So the process is the same, and there'll still be meetings, conversations with managers, employees, all that. We're just using a different tool to record that process. So as an employee, I'm in here, and here's my performance, my PDP here, Performance Appraisal and Development Plan. That's just my name, Sarah Imp Tester 7, for the purposes of this. Okay, so when I open up my PDP, this is what I see. The first bit here is just a little bit of a description about the process. And under that, you'll see there's a bit of a workflow. In the system, our process is chunked up a little bit more than it's the same, but it's just chunked up slightly more structured, I guess, than what we do at the moment. So you'll see April and May, we have the planning phase. This is when we're setting goals. In the past, we've sometimes called these KPIs, objectives, various other terminology, but we're trying to stick with goals because that's what we use in our organisational planning. So we set goals over April and May. Then the action phase from June through to February in that orange, that's when we're working towards our goals. We'll continue to have one-on-ones with our managers, and we can add notes at any time. And in the middle of that action phase, we have a mid-year review like we do now in October. Then at the end of the year, there's the annual review, which is chunked up a little bit more than we do now. So there's a period where as employees, we'll go in and we'll review our goals, our behaviours, and we'll do our self-ratings. Then we can then share that with our manager, who can go in, review our goals, our behaviours, look at the comments we've put in as an employees, and then come up with a rating. And then you'll have the meeting, you'll come together and then sign off on that. So similar, same as we do now. Right, the first section of the PDP, like we have now, goals. So I've got a bit of a description here about goals. So all of us, as we do now, we all have a health, safety and wellbeing goal, and that will already be there in the template pre-populated out. There'll be some other positions where goals will already be sitting in the template for you, such as SLT and ELT. They will have some, and people leaders will have goals already in there, which can then be edited or deleted if appropriate. So, but for all of us, we'll all have health, safety and wellbeing in there. With each goal, there's a heading. You can edit goals. Is development required? There's the opportunity to say, hey, yeah, I do need to work a bit on this goal. So if I clicked yes there, that would push it straight to my development plan. So it'll be sitting there in my development plan, knowing that that's something I have to develop on. There's a description of each goal and then measures. All of this is editable by both the employee and the manager. All the goals, as they do now, need to add up to 100% with their weightings. So there's my one goal already there that we've all got. I'm going to add another goal now. So I can add that from the library if I wanted to. So the goal library just has a whole lot of examples of goals, which you can then, hang on, let me do that again. You can choose from, you can edit them. They're sometimes really good starting points. So I'm just going to add this, create, manage budget, for example. I'm going to add that. Okay, I'll add that in by clicking save. Right, so that gives me a starting point. I can use it as it is, or I can edit it. If I want to make it more, just use it as a bit of a starting point. So I can edit that. And I can change the weightings. And I can change the description if I want to make it more relevant to my particular role. I'll save that, and then I can add measures. So this is how will we know? So your goal is what you're trying to achieve, and that should be linked to your business plan and the organisational business plan and strategy. And then the measures are, how do we assess whether we're achieving that goal or not? What do we want to see happen to show whether you've achieved that or not? So you can put in measures. It may have a start date and end date if it's a project, and then you can just save that measure. I'll just leave that at the moment. So that's one way to add a goal. Select one from the library that you can then edit. So there's examples, we've put some goals in there already for safety advisors and learning facilitators. Just means that you're not starting right from scratch every time. Or you can simply add a goal with free text, and it can be something that you just write in there that's relevant for your position with the weighting, and then add measures. Okay, so that's, right. And once you've got your goals in there throughout the year, you can add notes. Both employee and manager can go in there and add a note. So if you do something that contributes towards a goal you're working towards, you can go in there at the time, notes, chuck in your notes. I will mention this now. So this is a little bit tricky. So visibility, even though the word public is there, it's never public. All it means when it says public is it means for you and your manager. If it's private, it's only to you. If it's manager only, it's just to you and your manager. So don't be put off by that term public. It's never going to be public. None of this is visible. It's only visible to you and your manager and your manager's manager and people and culture. Okay, so that's goals. Let me just click back up there. Let's get rid of that. Whoops. Right, so the next section of our PDPs, just like now, are the behaviours. So the goals describe what we do and the behaviours how we do it. So just like now, we've got a set of values and our code of conduct that we're all expected to behave in alignment with. So this is the second section, and it's like one behaviour goal, I suppose. Again, you can add notes against this throughout the year. And in terms of your overall rating at the end of the year, when you come to the final PDP, just like now, that overall rating will be made up of 80% of how you performed on the goals and 20% on your behaviours. Then we come to our development plan. So the purpose of the development plan is to ensure that we're all developing in our roles, to improve in how we're performing in our roles, contribute to the business and our own professional and personal development as well. So in the development plan section, again, you can add from a library, which gives you just some examples. There's some examples. Oh, hang on. And you can edit those, or you can simply just add a development, and the objective might be improve communication skills, and you'll describe what that's about and why you're doing that. And then an action could be go on XYZ course, or spend time with someone else in the business, or practice giving presentations. You can add as many actions as you want underneath that development objective. Right, so at the moment, now that we are in April, we'll be focusing on this bit, getting our goals in, reviewing the behaviours, getting a development plan together. So that's what we're focusing on now. Then when we get to October, we will be having a mid-year review, just like we do now, which is really like, it's a check-in between manager and employee. How are you going on your goals? How are you going on your development plan? What are the roadblocks? What else do we need to put in place to help you achieve your goals? And just similar to now, there's some prompter questions there, and then it's just doing some mid-year comments from the employee and the manager. So because it's kind of divided, the process is now more structured around these stages. Once you've done this bit that we're doing now, setting goals, reviewing behaviours, developing a development plan, once we've done that as individuals, we need to submit our planning to say, yep, I'm happy with what I've put in there. I'm going to submit it and send it to my manager to review. Right.
So you do that twice a year? Like you do the mid-year and...
Yes, you submit the planning section. Then once we've got through this, the action phase in the mid-year, you will need to submit to push it along, to get it, to send it to you, effectively send it to your manager. Let me just check my list to make sure I've covered everything off. Right. Okay. So I think that's a high-level summary of how the system works. Happy to come out to any team meetings or help people, just get in touch with the people and culture team. Within the next week, we'll be sending out everybody the login to the system. So you all have a login to the system. And once we've got that sorted and ensure that everybody can access the system, then we'll be sending out your appraisal. So then you'll have your PDP there ready to put goals in. And we'll work with managers around setting goals with their people and how we can support in that process and what training and support is needed. So I think I've covered everything there, but please you can flick through a question, any questions, or just get in touch with me. Happy to help, and hopefully you'll find the system is beneficial in terms of a better tool to kind of keep all this information, these conversations in one place, and share that with your manager. Okay, all right, I'll stop sharing.